This is gonna be good.
Ready? Get on my way. 3, 2, 1. What is up? I am doing horror stories because it is Halloween. Ain't that right? I got this sweater, like literally like yesterday, but from whenever I upload this video, it'll be like later. And you are gonna be seeing this like everywhere because it's new, and you know when you get new stuff and you wear like all the time, like I swear to God, you're gonna see this so much, and I think I don't even wash it, and that I live in it. It's gonna be bad. Today we're gonna be telling horror stories. Okay, first one I have, I'm gonna call it the blood red eye.
I'm gonna call this feeding Megan a pizza Pringles. Ew, you licked me.
I'm sorry. It starts off, so a man goes into a hotel, he goes up to the desk, and he asks a lady for a room key. And she's like, okay, here's your key and have a nice day. But wait, you're not allowed to go into room 13. The man asks, why can't I go into room 13? The woman says, just do not enter room 13. So he goes up in his room first night, just chilling out. But then he gets really curious. He goes up to door 13 down the hall from his room. So he looks through the keyhole and he sees a girl with a white dress, short brown hair, and she's facing the opposite. He's staring at her back. And then he thinks, okay, so it's just a girl in a room. That's a little creepy, but maybe it's just trying to scare me. Second night, he gets even curiouser. He's really curious of what's in that room and why that girl is in there. Maybe she was just a hotel guest staying in there. He doesn't know. He goes back down the hall to room 13 and goes up to the door, looks through the keyhole, and the only thing he can see is red. He goes back downstairs to the lady at the desk, and he asks her, what is up with room 13? And she says, okay, here's the deal. So the thing with room 13 is, that room is supposedly haunted, and there's apparently this girl that's in there, short brown hair, white dress, and eyes on the back of her head, and her eyes are blood red. Now if we go back to the first night, he goes down the hall, looks through the keyhole, and sees a girl facing the opposite way, white dress, short brown hair. Whether or not he knew it, he was actually being stared at because she has eyes on the back of her head. And second night, if we go back, he looked through the keyhole and he saw just blood red. So that means that because he only saw blood red, he was looking straight into her eyes. I just blew your mind. Actually, I think that's pretty freaking cool. And this next one isn't really a horror story, but it's pretty freaking cool. My friend told it to me in this book called Twisted Fairy Tales, and I'm gonna tell you the tale because it's really freaking cool. Let's get creepy. What are you doing? I can't get creepy with you there. Move your leg. This story is called The Bone Whistle. So once upon a time in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a queen and their two children. There was the oldest, which was a girl, and the youngest, which was a boy. And soon one of them had to take over the throne of the king. But they were curious because usually it's the oldest guy who gets it, but the girl is older than the guy, but usually the guy gets it. So they go up to their mother and they ask, hey mom, who's gonna get the throne? The mom says that she's not really sure, but she'll get back to them in 3 days. We skip forward to 3 days later, and the mother says, okay, I cannot decide. You guys would both make amazing, like the amazing king. So I have a quest for you. You are gonna go on a quest, and you are gonna find me this rare flower. And I'm not gonna tell you where it is. I'm not gonna tell you anything about it or where to find it. Whoever brings it to me first wins the throne. So the oldest girl goes to the gardener, which she always used to go on walks in the garden with her dad, and knew that that gardener knew everything there is to know about every flower. So he scours the library for books to figure out where is this flower and what is it. And meanwhile, the girl gets the answer of where to find the flower. So she goes back to her room in the kingdom, and she gets all the supplies because it's a far journey. So she gets food, water, camping, like she's all prepared. Then she goes off her journey. And meanwhile, the brother's still in the library searching for books on what is this flower and where is it. And he looks out the window and sees his sister running off on a horse, and he thinks to himself, she is probably going to get the flower. I have to follow her. So he gets out and he just immediately chases her, gets on a horse and chases her. Then the night falls and the sister sets up for camp. She has food, water, she makes a fire. Meanwhile, the brother has nothing. He has no food, no water, no camping gear whatsoever, and he suffers through the worst night of his life. Then it's morning, and the sister wakes up super early, and she continues on her journey, and then she finds a field full of the enchanted flowers, like dozens of them, and she picks every single one and puts them in this big bag. As she's ready to leave, her brother jumps out of nowhere and attacks her and tries to pull the bag of flowers out of her hands and says, the sister says, "You followed me?" Brother says, "I'm supposed to get the throne. I'm the boy. I'm the king. You're supposed to lose. I'm supposed to win." The girl says, "But I found it. You just followed me. That's not fair." So they keep tugging and arguing and pulling and pulling and pulling. The sister takes out a knife and tries to defend herself because the brother starts throwing punches. But then the brother lets go of the bag. The sister flies back. The knife flies out of her hands and lies directly in her chest. And the brother picks up the bag of flowers, looks at her with the most evil stare. He turns back and he heads to the castle, and the sister bleeds to death. Now, so weeks later, the mother doesn't ask where the sister is. The brother gets back to the castle and wins the game, which this mother's super irresponsible for not wondering where her daughter is. But then, years later, you find a man walking through a forest with his dog. The dog runs around, he's frolicking, he's playing with a ball, and he digs up a bone. And when he digs up the bone, he brings it to his owner, and his owner picks it up, and he says, "You know what? I can make a pretty good whistle out of this." So he carves it into a whistle, but when he blows on it, it tells the entire story of how the brother killed the sister. And so this guy freaks out and he's like, "Oh my god, I know what happened to the princess now." So he goes to the kingdom and goes in front of the queen. Meanwhile, the brother is sitting right next to her, and he plays the whistle. And the queen hears the entire story of how he killed his sister. The queen is outraged. And gets mad at the son. And she punishes him to years and years and years in prison. And the peasant, the owner of the dog, has to play the bone whistle for him over and over and over and over, so he can hear what he's done and how bad of a person he is. But when he goes to play the whistle the third time, all they can hear is the girl screaming. What? That's scary. That's creepy, isn't it? It's Twisted Horror Stories. This story is called Baby Blue Eyes. There's a mom and a baby, and the baby has incredible blue eyes. And she goes for a walk in the park, and she sits on the bench, and there's an old lady sitting next to her, and the old lady looks at the baby and says to the mother, "What lovely blue eyes your baby has." The mother says, "Why, thank you." Later on that night, she puts the baby to bed, and she goes to bed herself. She wakes up the next morning, and the baby's gone, and she starts panicking and freaking out that her baby's gone. She is so stressed, and the cops are trying to find her, and she's just overwhelmed. So she thought she'd go to the park and read a book. So she goes to the park, and she sits down on her bench, and next to her is the old lady sitting there. The old lady turns to the woman, and she says, "What's wrong? What's wrong, dearie? You look sad." Mother looks up at the old lady and screams at the top of her lungs, 'cause the grandmother has baby blue eyes. The baby's blue eyes. Wow, she cut the eyes out of the baby's head. Whoa, that's really scary.
What the heck is wrong with you?
So I hope you guys enjoyed this creepy video for Halloween. I thought I'd tell some really creepy stories. I'm sorry I haven't been posting, it's been killing me. I'm so happy I have this video. I tried to make a gaming video and the recording thing didn't work. I'm gonna try it again. Hopefully that will come up soon. Anyways, I love you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video. Happy Halloween. Stay creepy. Oh.
What do you think you are?